There we go. Alright, so I remember to actually check me challenges this one. So, spawning on the bottom side of the map, well, sort of the bottom left, the 8:30 position, 9 o'clock position, we've got Kire as the blue trunks, the Persian player today. And spawning on the right side of the map, the red trunks, as the Egyptian player. Player number 2 is AlphaLeopard. So guys, this is Ghost Lake. This is the fan favorite, the flavor of the month. A really good map at that too. Because in this mid map, you can't actually build, and there's a heck of a lot of herdables. So that's plenty of food. There's also quite a generous amount around the outside of the map, to be honest. It just makes for a really nice map. It's quite a small map, but it feels like a big one because you can't actually really just wall off on this section. You've sort of got to snake your walls down around it or stick to back here, so players end up being quite a little bit segregated in the mid game. So there is this field to cross, and sometimes there's really some nice big fights in the mid map though still. So AlphaLeopard already getting 2 out of 3 sheep in 2 groups, coming back to get the third at both of them. Kire already got his first barracks. AlphaLeopard just getting it now. He did only stick to the first storehouse, but must have just been a little bit slower in terms of the resource gathering. So a second storehouse for Kire now finished. Thank you for the follow. And the barracks for Alpha still in construction. So I missed the challenges last game, but basically, where the heck did my pen go? Oh, here, I've got it. Got my pen still, thankfully. Basically, if you age up to H2 before 5 minutes, you get 5k gold for playing in this series. And if you build a second town centre before the 8th minute, you also get 5k gold. And then depending on how quickly you win, you also get bonus gold based off that. So I'm going to have to rewatch the last game of this series just to track those things and let Flavio know. So there's already a couple of spar out for Kire. Similar sort of build to last game. AlphaLeopard this time getting the barracks a little bit quicker than he did last, but still a little bit slower than Kire in the end. A lot of sheep here for Alpha. Kire hasn't actually got any, it seems. Doesn't seem to really be scouting too heavily either. Sorry about the burp. So Alpha, bit of a break in this villager production, which is not what he wants, especially when he's already got the food in the bank to keep producing more. Kire relishing the opportunity to take an early age 2, just like last game, getting on the storehouse quite early. Wants to be able to get that age 2 town centre pretty quickly. So it's perhaps slightly fast. He's got 14 villages only, and he's going to get that age 2 town centre out a little bit slower than the actual age 2, so AlphaLeopard in the meanwhile only on 11 villages though, so it's not as though this is going to cost Kire a huge amount economically. He's still going to be able to pump out the age 2 TC quite quickly, but as you can see, he still doesn't have the resources yet. AlphaLeopard in the meanwhile seems to be getting a couple of extra houses, sending some spears around the edge of the map now, trying to deal some harass, but he's gonna put himself behind economically playing like this, just like last game, where he sort of really is reliant on getting a lot of kills, and even still never really quite catches up because he's just not on the same pace economically, so that's where it's going to get quite tough for him. Archery range going down for Kai, so he's going to play the same sort of build as he did last time. Getting some spearmen in the mix as well there, just in case Alpha has gone for a really early stables. Actually no, sorry, is intending to go for a really quick stables. But Alpha is being spotted here. Kai unable to get onto this hunt possibly, but actually I take that back, he does have the numbers here and he is ready to defend there, so Alpha right now, just working towards his age 2. Kire already has the stone to get his age 2 town center, but he still needs the wood. Probably could have skipped the range for now. He got that town center out just that little bit quicker. But he still has a bit of a lead here. It's 18 to 20 villages right now. So Kire, actually not that far ahead in terms of the villager count just yet, but he is going to get that town center down now. AlphaLeopard still hasn't gathered the stone for his. He's got the wood though, but yeah, he definitely still needs to get the stone. Kire actually, population cap, but getting the house now. And he could look at getting Loom right now if he wanted to, considering he still needs the house, but he's going to wait, put that on hold, save up the food and continue to spend it on more units. So instantly queuing up 5 villages. He probably only needed to queue up 2 or 3, then produce some more other units as well. Some more military. Get the ball rolling. Alpha actually taking the distance stone right now rather than the stone just north of his town center, which is a bit interesting. Oh, I forgot to actually check the times. I'm sorry. Actually, they both just succeeded in age 2 town center. You know what? I'm just going to rewatch after because I can't pay attention to both. I'm sorry, Flavio. It's just not possible to actually do play-by-play casting and pay attention to that time. But I'll rewatch the games after, like just as a bit of a quick highlight, just to check and see what goes on, and I'll be able to let you know. So anyway, Kire has a huge force right now. He's in 28 villages to Alpha's 24, so he's just opened up a little bit of a gap there. He's got that second town center down. Alpha just rushing to builders now. He's got 6 villages onto it, but that might be a little bit too little at this stage of the game. He probably afford to go with 1 or 2 more, get it up that little bit faster at this stage. He's already got the villages he really needs to continuously build out of his barracks. So right now, Kire heading across the map, getting the pickaxe tech now. He's already got his handsaw tech. AlphaLeopard has his berries, picker's gloves. Kire just starting to research it now, but Alpha doesn't have any other techs at this point. He is just patrolling, making sure he can get that town center up safe and sound. Kire going for a bit of a flank here. So Alpha actually going on the chase. But he doesn't really have the units here, I don't think. So Kire actually picked off the slinger first, so his bowmen aren't going to have a problem dealing with anything else. So that's a really, really good play there from Kire. Alpha's units all just falling now. Already taking a huge nosedive in terms of score. Got the second town center up though now. He's getting 3 barracks. He's not getting any stables just yet. So it's actually nice to see because that's probably what he wants to do. What he needs to do. He's going to need to get slingers out. He's going to need to get a lot of axemen out. And he is going to need to get the villagers off this deer as it runs out. So I hope he's paying a bit of attention to that. And right now, he saves all the villagers there, but isn't going to get a huge amount of value. He's going to get 2 kills. So that's actually not that bad. But he needs to get these villagers back to work. And yeah, these guys are actually idling again, so it's not very efficient for him. The Kire right now, getting his age 3, sit 39 to 30 villagers. Spirobara, Asabara, Spearman and Bowman now in the composition. And the Silver Age has kicked in, so Kire has a pretty big lead over Alpha at this stage. He's about 20 population up. Man, Kire has a lot of bling. See this? Legendaries on like everything. Just so much bling. It's just bling everywhere. Look at all this bling. Anyway, paying a bit more attention to the game now. Alpha's got production out of all three barracks is kicking now. But Kire is in the back of his base, so he's going to have to be careful to defend against this. Wow, Alpha's got a lot of bling too. Anyway, paying a bit more attention to the game again. Oh man, menace. Okay. So Kire's sandwiched himself sort of awkwardly between the town centre and all the units and production facilities of Alpha's, and he might have overextended, might have overplayed his hand here. Because Alpha does have the units to repel this. But the Asabara picking off some villages there. Continue to snipe a couple more, so 32 to 45 is the villager count at this point. We're going to drop down to 31 too. Oh, headshot. So 3 stables coming out now for Alpha. He's just reshuffling his army amongst everything. Kire actually preparing to get his market line all set up here. I like this town center formation where he sort of just crept them from his main base just further and further down. Well, actually, sorry. It's his main town center. This one here, yeah. Sort of crept from his main town center further and further down the map. Now he's got himself a good market line, a good spread to actually get a whole bunch of farms at the back of his base that are hard to actually get to. So it's covering a lot of ground here, even defending another gold mine with that wall. So AlphaLeopard looking to do largely the same, I think. Although he's sort of put his town centers here, he might look at putting his third over here or over here. And now populations, it's 32 to 60 now in terms of the villager count. So, oh, Alpha, you've really got to build those villages, man. And total population is about 30 different as well, so it's largely where the difference is, because Kire will probably have an evenly sized military, but yeah, it just has twice as much gatherers at the moment. And he is going to make an attempt to raid up towards this top side. This lower side of Alpha's base now being walled off just about completely, but oh, this might not be a good fight for Kire actually, because Alpha has gone straight onto the army and is getting a lot of good damage out right now. There's no Asabara in to support this, so even though they're up here potentially distracting Alpha, they're not actually offering any cover here. So this massive bowmen are going to need to be perfectly microed, but ooh, a few of them getting some good shots off there actually. The slingers sort of lag behind at the back there. Not so good of a fight for either player, I don't think. And now the Asabara are here to support and just keep an eye on things. So Kire can't actually see anything going on here. But neither Alpha couldn't see them till the last moment either. And Kire is going to see this town center if he... So Kire would see this because you can see on the map. And he is going to snipe the third town center of Alpha's. So Alpha is going to have to start from the beginning there. No mounted archers coming out just yet for Kire, but he's getting a war academy, which is interesting. He wants to get priests, I think, or mages, as they're called. A couple of immortal camps coming out now for Kire as well, so he's going for a fairly balanced, fairly standard way to play Persian. It's nice walling here from Alpha. It's going to be hard for Kire to get in and out of his base, so just needs to get some value out of these camels before Kire walls up the entirety of his base. It's really only a couple of gaps in here on the front now. Poor wolves. Must have drowned. Couldn't have been these guys. They're harmless. Wouldn't hurt a fly. So we see the camels heading around now. Does Alpha actually know about this? No. So Kire is going to see this probably. they're going to react to it. Actually, no, Kire might not actually see this come through. And Alpha might just be able to get a bit of value out of this and breathe some life into his game now. He needs to get some more food gatherers. He's only on 39 villages at this stage of the game. Kire up to 66. He's largely stopped because he wants to max out and take a big fight. He's got the Asabara heading towards his opponent's base, but Alpha actually getting some good damage to Kire's eco here. There's a whole bunch of villagers going down. Meantime, there is Spearmen here to defend, which are holding up these Asabara. Kire has a lot of units idle at the moment, while Alpha is just trying to run him around the map. There is the supporting units here. All the rest of Alpha's army now here to defend, and he just needs to send them all the way back up here to deal with the villagers. I mean, deal with the Asabara and the villagers. It's only 38 villagers now for Alpha, so he did lose one then. 55 for Kire though, so he's lost 11 villagers right now. And he is going to lose this market, but he is going to have his forces here to deal with this. AlphaLeopard is going to clean this up. Isn't producing any more villagers to replace them though. Down to 54 villagers for Kire, so he actually lost 12 villagers in that exchange. Alpha managing to clean up, yeah, a total of 12 villagers, only losing one in the process, but he is going to lose these camels now, so... And on this bottom side of the map, Kire is punching a hole through Alpha's defense now, so... Ooh, this is really heating up to be a good game, but... Alpha, please, make some more villagers, man! Make villagers! I want to see you flourish! Oh, and the Slingers focusing a mixture of units, which is not so good. They need to be straight onto the Bowman, while Kire is getting lovely damage off on Alpha's army, largely wiping it out of here on the front doorstep. And there is seemingly nothing to stop this push now. Kire just stutter stepping his movement now, getting a couple of shots off and then moving forward. He might be able to do this, but there is more cavalry here for Alpha, so he might be able to clean this up, but he's down by so much population at this stage. He's down by about 70 population, and it's really not looking good. Guys, pro tip, if there's opponents in there, double click on both town centers and then just click on a bunch of units, because they'll actually attack the same target, kill a lot faster. I do like this town center placement from Alpha because it's making it hard for Kire to stay here until the cavalry rocks up, but now that it's here and there is no more units for the Egyptian player, no more military units for the Egyptian player other than a couple of slingers, it's going to be really, really hard for him to defend. These chariots are going to need to get out before they take too much damage. Oh, so they're getting another volley off, but looks like two of them are going to fall. Three chariots falling there, and that's a very expensive blow. They are 160 resources, guys, so make sure you save them. Hold on to them, whatever you do. And the slingers dealing very little damage to the immortals and to the Sparabara as they take out the barracks. So Alpha is really struggling right now. Kire is all over him like a rash. There's 68 to 33 villages. Alpha has a lot of idle units at the moment, just pulling these villages out to get what little wood he can, but he's got these guys over here just all gathered around a single deer, standing around watching the other watching it. So right now, the chariot's getting a couple of nice kills and kiting these Sparabara and these bowmen. But will it be enough to overwhelm the rest of this force? Kire still has so much in the bank, continuing to get caravans, 74 villages to 34 now, so Kire non-stop ramping up the eco again. And it's just going to be so tough for Alpha to do anything from here, I think. Wouldn't be surprised if Kire just gets it onto another gold mine or two and takes an age 3 now. But he is down to only 300 gold himself. Alpha has very little in the bank either, so it's going to be a very tough game for him to come back in. And right now it's about 60 population different again. Alpha is going to get a couple of good kills here, but he's not going to be able to save this town center. He's going to need to throw it up back again. So yeah, so the town center does fall. Kire backing off just to make sure he's okay. He wants to take a fairly aggressive fortress near his opponent's base now. because Alpha already has got one on the way. Defensive fortress here for Alpha, and he can work towards elephants if he can afford them. So they are a 400 resource unit, guys. So quite an expensive commitment there, and Alpha just doesn't seem to have the gold or the food to really force them out. So really the fortress is just going to provide a bit of defensive cover of around this wood line and the gold mine, but Kire is going to be able to get a workshop or something here, or take age 4 and get Palantonons, and it can be very hard for Alpha to defend in this position. But it's a really nice number of chariots. So I mean, if Alpha looks at raiding with them, he can potentially punch a hole through here. There is still a gap here next to this gold mine and town center, and there's a lot of units here on the farm, so these villages do grow to be quite crucial late game. But Alpha having to scramble to defend again, because Kire is attempting to move in, but Kire runs straight into the fortress, decides I'm not sticking around, I'm not force myself to have to commit to that, and he's got 2 armories pumping right now. Alpha doesn't seem to have an armory at the moment, so that's going to be a bit tough for him, because Kire has actually got all but one age 2 upgrade, with all of the age 3 except for one researching. So just with these immortals, bowmen, he's largely able to do the damage he needs here. This fortress is going to take a bit of damage. Oh, that's going to really suck for Alpha. He's so low on resources at the moment. He's got no gold income. He could be taking this gold mine down here, but he's also got the gold mine here, but he's just not gathering any gold. He's just got so many idle villages. GG has been called by Alpha. Hasn't surrendered just yet, but he's called GG. I think he's just waiting for Kire to move in for one last final push. Kire actually taking some siege workshops on the top side of the map and moving his army in from the bottom side. Has the fortress finished up now? But there is 2 fortresses here for Alpha, so they will be able to rain down fire on these ranged units. Going to deal with quite a fair bit of damage, particularly if they hit the bowmen, because they don't have a lot of pierce armor. The immortals do have a little bit more pierce armor, I believe. No, they've just got more health, sorry. Kire asking, what are you waiting for? Because Alpha said GG, but he's staying in the game. Oh, idle village that's up here. And the second fortress now for Alpha is going to fall. He's going to try and throw up one desperately, but he doesn't have the units to be able to hold off another push from Kire. It's just so much here for Kire, and he's got 89 villagers backing this up. Alpha down at 28 villagers, just doesn't have enough to actually be able to even get the fortress up, I don't think. So, it does finish in time, but there's just so little here. There's only a handful of production facilities, but there's so many villagers here to repair this. But 3 or 4 of them are going to die every time there's a volley from these bowmen, so Alpha can't keep this up for long. GG, I think that's going to be it. Alpha saying, I'm making you work for it, to Kire. So the fortress does fall. 2 town centers left. Kire going to have to move in with everything he's got here. He needs to move in with these. Oh, here we go. Here come the Rams. So GG. For real this time. So I'll just give you a quick overview of all the stats. How far does this go? Does that show me the age? Oh, it doesn't show upgrades. Okay. Alright, well I'm going to have to do a bit of watching over. Anyway, GG, well played, guys. There's our villagers train tab. So Kire, yep, definitely be able to produce his villagers a little bit better there, but he did have quite a big gap. And where's the villagers population? Another big drop from Kire as well in terms of the villager count when AlphaLeopard did manage to sack the units of that gold mine, so good job to him for that. So well played, guys. Thank you for letting me cast this game, and